SpongeBob SquarePants may look like a harmless cartoon, but some of its episodes have actually been edited or restricted in different countries. In this video, we're going to look at two more SpongeBob episodes that quietly caused controversy and were changed after release.
At first glance, the SpongeBob SquarePants episode Just One Bite looks like a simple and hilarious story about Squidward refusing to eat a Krabby Patty. Throughout the episode, Squidward acts disgusted whenever SpongeBob mentions the famous burger, insisting that he would never eat something so ridiculous. But as the story progresses, viewers begin to see something interesting happen. Squidward secretly becomes curious about the Krabby Patty. His curiosity slowly turns into temptation, and eventually it becomes a full-blown obsession. One of the most memorable moments in the episode happens late at night when Squidward sneaks into the Krusty Krab kitchen. In the darkness, he quietly begins making Krabby Patties for himself while trying to keep it a secret from SpongeBob. At first, it seems like a harmless gag scene, but the sequence quickly becomes more intense. Squidward starts cooking burgers rapidly, stacking them higher and higher, while devouring them like someone who can't stop. Then, suddenly, the moment builds toward chaos. In the original version of the episode, the kitchen becomes extremely dangerous. Squidward lights the stove, flames shoot upward, and the massive explosion occurs when the cooking setup goes wrong. The explosion sends Squidward flying across the kitchen in a surprisingly dramatic scene for a kid's cartoon. Some broadcasters later felt that this moment looked too intense and could potentially encourage kids to imitate dangerous behavior involving stoves or cooking equipment. Because of that concern, certain networks decided to quietly edit or shorten the explosion scene when the episode aired on television. Many viewers who watched the show in different countries actually saw slightly different versions of the episode without realizing it. In some broadcasts, the explosion was toned down, while in others, the scene was cut earlier so the dangerous moment wasn't shown in full detail. What makes this situation interesting is that the episode itself was never fully banned. Instead, it became one of those rare cases where a specific scene was modified to make it safer for younger audiences. Over time, fans began comparing versions of the episode online and noticed that the sequence didn't always look the same. Some fans who remembered the original broadcast were surprised when later versions seemed shorter or less dramatic. This created a small mystery within the SpongeBob fan community, where people debated whether the scene had actually been changed or if their memories were simply different. Eventually, it became clear that the scene had indeed been edited in some regions. The reason was not controversy in the traditional sense, but rather a precaution. Kids' cartoons are often held to very strict safety standards, especially when scenes involve fire, explosions, or risky activities that children might try to copy. Even though the moment was meant to be comedic, networks sometimes prefer to avoid situations that could appear dangerous without clear consequences. Despite these edits, Just One Bite remains one of the most beloved Squidward episodes ever made. Fans love it because it perfectly captures Squidward's personality. Stubborn at first, secretly curious, and eventually completely addicted to the very thing he claimed to hate. The episode also became iconic for the comedic buildup, as Squidward desperately tries to hide his love for Krabby Patties, while SpongeBob remains completely oblivious. Ironically, the edited explosion scene only added to the episode's legend among longtime viewers. Whenever a cartoon episode gets changed, even in a small way, fans become more curious about the original version. Today, Just One Bite is often discussed in lists of SpongeBob episodes that were modified or edited, even though the show itself never officially banned it. Instead, it stands as an example of how children's television sometimes evolves after release, with networks adjusting certain moments to fit changing broadcast standards and safety guidelines. The SpongeBob SquarePants episode Sailor Mouth is widely considered one of the funniest episodes in the entire series, but it is also one of the most controversial because of the unusual topic it explores. The story begins when SpongeBob and Patrick discover a mysterious word written on a dumpster behind the Krusty Krab. Curious about what it means, they ask Mr. Krabs about it. Without realizing the consequences, Mr. Krabs explains that the word is what sailors call a sentence enhancer, basically a word that people sometimes use when they're angry or frustrated.
SpongeBob and Patrick misunderstand the explanation completely and begin repeating the word everywhere they go. Of course, the show never actually reveals the real swear words. Instead, every time SpongeBob or Patrick says one of these sentence enhancers, the audio is replaced by loud dolphin noises. This creative censorship made the episode extremely funny because viewers could clearly tell that the characters were saying something inappropriate even though the actual word was never spoken. As the episode continues, the situation escalates rapidly. SpongeBob and Patrick start using these words in every conversation, shouting them in public, saying them inside the Krusty Krab, and even yelling them during normal everyday activities. Eventually, Mr. Krabs realizes that they are repeating the same words he once used himself. In one of the most memorable scenes, SpongeBob accidentally uses the bad word in front of Mr. Krabs' mother, which leads to an over-the-top reaction from Mr. Krabs as he desperately tries to explain the situation. While the episode is clearly meant to be comedic, the idea of characters learning and repeating bad language caused concern among some broadcasters and parents. Even though the actual words were censored, the episode still revolved around the concept of profanity, something that many kids' shows usually avoid entirely. Because of this, certain television networks in different countries chose to limit how often the episode was aired. Some broadcasters worried that younger viewers might imitate the behavior shown in the episode, repeating sentence enhancers without understanding what they mean. Interestingly, many critics and fans believe that the episode actually delivers the opposite message. By the end of the story, SpongeBob and Patrick realize that using these words constantly can create problems and make people uncomfortable. The episode ultimately shows that careless language can have consequences, especially when it spreads to others. In that way, the story works almost like a comedic lesson about responsibility and communication. However, the controversy surrounding the theme still made the episode stand out compared to typical SpongeBob adventures. Most episodes focus on silly situations like jellyfishing, working at the Krusty Krab, or exploring Bikini Bottom. Sailor Mouth, on the other hand, directly plays with the idea of inappropriate language, while cleverly hiding it behind dolphin sound effects. This unusual approach made the episode incredibly memorable. Even today, fans often quote moments from the episode or reference the famous dolphin censor whenever they talk about cartoon censorship. Over time, the episode gained the reputation as one of the boldest SpongeBob episodes ever made, because it managed to explore a controversial topic while still remaining humorous and creative. Although it was never officially banned everywhere, the fact that some networks limited its broadcast only added to its mysterious reputation. For many fans, Sailor Mouth represents the moment when SpongeBob proved that a kid's cartoon could push boundaries in clever ways without actually breaking the rules. So those were two more SpongeBob SquarePants episodes that ended up being edited or restricted because of certain scenes. Sometimes even a small moment in a cartoon can raise concerns, especially when the show is watched by millions of kids around the world. What makes these episodes interesting is that the controversy only made fans more curious about them. Whenever an episode gets edited or limited on TV, people start asking questions about what really happened in the original version. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more hidden details, theories, and banned SpongeBob episodes, make sure to subscribe to the channel and leave a like on the video.